Okay, sculpture class, time to make a real sculpture. This week's assignment will be to create 3 origami butterflies. Origami, the art of folded paper, may be something new to you, and that's okay. I'm going to walk you through step by step what to do. These examples that you see here are the ones that I made to practice and try different papers. So I will talk about each paper, what I found to be best, and then we'll get started. I do recommend watching this video first, all the way through, just watching, before you go back and start it over at the instructional part and then fold along with me. I think you'll just find it a little bit easier that way. So these are going to fly away, and I'm going to talk about each kind of paper and what I thought was best. I started off with printer paper, which worked pretty good. Thinner is better. So printer paper is what I'm going to suggest. Notebook paper could work too. I didn't put that on here. A page from a book. This was an old, on its way to recycling bin, butterfly paper, a book. And so I tore a page out. Please ask permission or use an old book so that I don't get in trouble. Wrapping paper worked really well. Nice and thin. Here's a little Christmas butterfly. Tissue paper. This is kind of like a Japanese handmade paper, but I have different kind of resources in my studio. Newspaper is also really good, and I took a page from the funnies, so it would the comics, so it would be lighthearted and fun. Magazine page is my favorite though. You get like unexpected, kind of unique results. I really like this one. And this one came out pretty good too. This one doesn't want to stay too well, but that usually isn't a problem. And I found that cardstock, which is like scrapbook paper, which is like an index card thickness, it was hard to fold. This one came out okay. You can see it's got like different sides, different patterns, but it was tricky. So the harder and firmer the paper, the harder time you'll have. I also tried construction paper, and it was a bust. It won't even stay folded. So I thought it would be good actually, and then it wasn't. So we experiment. The only true requirement is that it's square. It always starts square. I recommend 6 inches per side for a minimum. I think the biggest one I had was 8. If you have bigger paper, you use whatever you have. That's cool too. I am going to require that you make 3 and take photos and upload to Microsoft Teams, which I hope is going well. You guys are turning in some good stuff. So if you don't have a ruler, that's okay. This is 8.5 inch square. All I did from my printer paper to get a square, to know how big the square will be, you can actually do the first step, the very first fold, and then this is your excess to cut off, this strip right here. Then you would have your square. If you have scissors, good. If you don't have scissors, you really could just crease it here, back and forth, crease it, nice sharp crease, and then gently tear it. As long as you get that square, you're all set. So here's my square, and let's do this. I have a spoon handy. That's good for making creases. So with the point nearest to you, fold it up. Your paper might not match 100%. I had that coming up a couple times. That's pretty good. So using the spoon to crease it just helps make those nice sharp edges. You're going to open it up and rotate it so that the crease is now pointing towards you. And I'm going to take that bottom point and fold it up. Again, I do recommend just watching this all the way through first, and then going back, getting your things and trying. I had to pause and rewind and repeat a step or two that I found to be difficult. So you can open it up, okay? And right now it's all pointing down in the center, right? I'm going to ask you to flip the whole thing over. So we'll flip it like this, and then it's pointing up. This is the highest point. It's kind of like a pyramid. See that? Yeah. All right. With a flat side facing you, this is the little bit tricky part. You can do it. You're going to pinch these two corners and see how it's starting to raise up and get taller. It needs a little help in the middle right there. There we go. So now I've got this triangle in front of me, and I've got a triangle in the back here, and it also wants to fold in. Okay, that could be the tricky part. Okay, I understand. So you may, oops, that's a little crooked. So you may have to go back, try again. I did not get it right on the first or second try, but once I got it, so cool. All right, so it should look like this. Okay, go ahead and put the point towards you. We're gonna make the wings. So now you've got this front triangle. These are going to become the bottom wings. The two in the back become the top wings. So I'm going to do one at a time. You could fold it closer. You could fold it out a little bit. Whatever just kind of happens naturally. Hope you don't hear my dishwasher in the distance. That's what it's like to teach from home. Okay, so now I've got the two bottom wings and the two top wings. We're almost done. You're doing great. So this is actually what looks like the tail. It's going to flip behind and become the head. So take the whole thing, flip it over. Okay, so now you've got just a big plain triangle in front of you. This is going to flip up. Now at first I was doing this and just having a little triangle, but if you pull it a little more and then these bottom wings start to like stand up on their own, that will give it more of a 3D effect. I discovered that after a couple tries. So see how this bigger triangle, instead of it being low and small, pull it up. Let these two bottom tails stand up a little bit. Okay. This is going to fold over like a hoodie and become the head. So flip it over. Now we're at the front. Fold down the head. And all you gotta do is fold it in half. Here's where I'm going to utilize my spoon. I'm going to get that nice sharp crease in here. Oh yeah. And there you go. Butterfly. On this one you can see that I then went back with scissors and just kind of rounded the edges. I liked how that looked. The original one will give you some pointed corners, pointed wings. I didn't have time to do it, but I wanted to on my, this was my first one, I wanted to add like a real butterfly design with pencil and then maybe some gel pens or Sharpies or markers or whatever, but I didn't get a chance to. So, so that's it. You can see that because we did that extra pull, now it's got some 3D motion. You can see in my first one, I did not do that, so it lays flat more and it's just not as three-dimensional, right? But this really does kind of stand up on its own a little better. So yeah, if you can use 3 kinds of paper, that's awesome. You might even think of a different paper than I did. You might come up with a different solution. If you only have one kind, do 3 in the same kind. Maybe try different sizes. Just don't go too small, and you'll have some trouble. Everyone should have access to newspaper. I would guess a magazine, or even like a food ad that you would get in the mail. And notebook paper, you could do that. So be resourceful. Give me a shout if you need help, if you need supplies. I'll work with you and see what we can do. I hope you have some fun and try it out, and I'll see you soon. Enjoy!